79% of Detroit children are born to unmarried mothers. They don't have a fiscal problem, Steve. They have a cultural collapse.
Joining me now is our rapid response panel, author Liz Winstead, the Griot contributor Zerlina Maxwell, and also Joan Walsh of Salon.com. I'll tell you what, I think I've just about heard it all. Joan, I mean, the conclusions that George Will comes to, your reaction.
I want to congratulate Donna Brazile for the look on her face and for also not strangling him. She was very brave there. It's ridiculous. We all know it's ridiculous. First of all, the white community, white people have the exact same rate of single parenthood today as Moynihan talked about in 1965. And he's not going around talking about the crisis in the white family. Second of all, Moynihan, he became kind of a pariah on the left because some of the language in the report is very problematic, to say the least. However, he thought that the reason the rate of single motherhood was so high was because of racism, was the legacy of slavery, the destruction of the black family, the destruction of black men. So to take it out of context and say, and to blame mothers because that's what they love to do, I mean, he belongs on Fox.
You know, your life changes when you have a job. Your life changes when that check is coming in every 2 weeks. I mean, income inequality, I think, has an awful lot to do with the social conditions of this country, but conservatives are afraid to admit that. Zerlina, your response to all of this?
Well, I think I'm really growing tired of blaming and shaming women, and particularly black women who happen to have a child out of wedlock. I mean, conservatives don't want to give them any reproductive health care rights, and so you're having a child, and a lot of them may or may not want an abortion and aren't able to have it if you live in Texas. And so they don't want to put forth any programs that help those women once the babies are here, like affordable child care and health care. So the idea that we're just going to blame mothers after the fact is really just lazy, because
I mean,
racism
is he just an old, out-of-touch guy?
He's completely out of touch. He needs black friends. He needs black friends.
I just think the thing that's astounding is that there are 74% of black women who know how to get pregnant all by themselves.
Yeah. Right.
That no one's talking about that amazing thing that I did not know this. It's sort of like shutting that whole thing down. That black women have the superpower where they can just get pregnant without any help from a man. That's amazing to me.
Well, today marks Women's Equality Day, a day celebrating women getting the right to vote back in 1920. I mean, but these types of comments that are made, what does it say about where we stand in this country today when it comes to equal rights, Liz?
I think it doesn't say very much, and I think it is so tone deaf, and I think that it just goes back to a lot of white men talking about women and never talking to women. And the thing that I say often is the stories of women are powerful. The stories of people are powerful. And the first thing the right does is shut stories down because they're convincing, whether it's women, dreamers, 9/11 widows. And it's really frustrating to have them talking about us.
Right. And that goes for black people as well, and brown people. I think that the problem is that, like I said, George Will, it's not that he just needs to meet maybe more black people, but he needs to meet black people that are not working for him, perhaps, or on his same socioeconomic class.
I think our next topic plays into this. Louisiana Governor Bobby Jindal, back in November, Jindal said that the GOP should stop being the stupid party, but it looks like they may not have gotten the memo. In an op-ed for Politico, the Republican governor from Louisiana blamed racial inequality on minorities, putting too much emphasis on their heritage, ethnic background, and skin color. He went on to write, "We must resist the politically correct trend of changing the melting pot into a salad bowl." Joan.
You know, Bobby Jindal talks about the stupid party, but he's the one saying stupid things, unbearably stupid things. I mean, obviously, with all due respect, Indian Americans do face racism. They face prejudice. But to compare it to the African American experience, to compare it to the legacy of being enslaved, it's just an unbelievably arrogant and dumb thing for him to say.
As a woman of color, how do you feel about you're playing the race card? That's basically what the governor from Louisiana is saying.
And he didn't have to.
Right, and I think, I mean, the problem with that race card narrative, it ignores the fact that race is not a card. I am a black woman, and so I move throughout the world as a black woman. It's not something that I choose to bring up. It is a topic that is always true. It's how I move throughout the world. So I think that, you know, maybe it's for him, it's fine to ignore race, but that's not a privilege that everyone enjoys.
Well, according to the Justice Department, the first year of Bobby Jindal's own school voucher program reversed much of the progress made toward integration in 34 historically segregated schools. Is he really the one who should be giving the advice to the Republican Party?
Well, I think that when you look at this is what happens when you sort of decide that race and skin are the same, and it's kind of maddening where your entire being and the way you develop and your whole process of who you are comes from what you've experienced. To not teach whether it's please fight for what you have come from, if you are somebody who has come from something hard and privileged, to like the Kennedys, who were very rich and were taught to noblesse oblige and to always give back and to make sure that you understand your privilege. So it goes both ways.
Right.
And for him to just say, hey, forget about who you are, ignore what you are.
Joan, where's the Republican Party? Are they being seriously damaged when it comes to race and minorities in this country? How are they going to be able to recover like this? I mean, George Will, who I think is a revered voice in the conservative movement in this country, is basically blaming minorities for the problems that they have, thinking that it's a level playing field all across society.
And so is Bobby Jindal, and so is, we also saw Rural Labrador do the same thing yesterday, a Puerto Rican insisting that, you know, racism is overblown. Yeah, I think they're hurting themselves. I think they really cannot see a future where they can reach out and grab enough voters of color, and they are stuck. They really believe what they believe about both racism.
How is their nominee going to handle this? They're putting their nominee for 2016 in an untenable position to come back and is going to have to almost disagree with all of these things that are being said.
Trust me, he's not going to disagree. He can't disagree because that's what they think.
All right. Liz Winstead, Zerlina Maxwell, Joan Walsh, great to have you on the Ed Show. Thank you.
Okay.
A state senator from Colorado has some diet tips, and it's landing all of that right into the pretender. Stay tuned. We're right back.